Nation of Fit and 10, welcome to day 16 of the challenge. And I am going to give you guys at least some of the things I do to help with my sweet tooth. You may not believe it, but I have a huge sweet tooth. Growing up, I had a massive sweet tooth. I have, I have many memories, but I'll tell you that when I was a kid, my aunt would come over, Thanksgiving, whatnot, Christmas, birthdays, and she'd bring over like these massive fruit pies that they would make at the church bake sale. And these pies were absolutely delicious. I would eat, and I'm talking like I was like 8, 9, 10 years old. I would eat like a whole pie, or just about a whole pie, and they were massive. And I had no problem with this. I have a lot of other stories. Found $50 as a child and spent it all on fudge. This was up in Whistler. They had some sort of fudge store there. I actually think they were making fudge. This would have been back in the late 80s. And this was in the Village. I don't know if this place is still there, but it was a store slash small factory where they would make fudge. Anyways, I spent $50 on fudge. I had a massive sweet tooth. And so how do I get around this now? Well, I mean, part of it was I learned that, I got to stay away from these foods. But what do I do? Because I still have a sweet tooth. And so one thing that I've realized, and it wasn't even really conscious, but it's actually every second meal that I eat throughout the day tends to be a sweet meal. And every second other meal is a savory meal. So let me just show you some of the foods that I use. And these are not like, they're not foods that really you're going to be like, blown away with or anything, but they help me tremendously. And one of them is frozen pineapple. And I do a frozen pineapple based shake along with banana. And I use water, and I use protein powder, and I use yogurt. And this gives me one meal where I get some sweetness, like major sweetness, and that's coming from the banana and the pineapple. And yes, there is sugar in pineapple and banana, of course. But in fact, all carbohydrates, fiber aside, are all sugar-based. Starches are just chains of sugar. So at the end of the day, when we're having carbohydrates, we are inevitably having sugar. The question is what form of sugar are we getting? Oh, that's not actually the right way to put it. The question really is, what am I getting along with that sugar? So I'm having some carbohydrates in and of themselves, but what else am I getting? Am I getting things like fiber? Am I getting things like micronutrients? Am I getting things like phytonutrients? Am I getting things like antioxidants, etc.? These things that really make the food much more nutrient dense, and that's really what it's about, okay? Unless you want to go on a carbohydrate-free diet, you're going to eat sugar at some point. That's just the way it is. So the key is to eat real whole foods like this, okay? So this is some of the stuff I do. Something else I use, again, is I use mixed berries. And I put this in my oatmeal. And again, this gives me some sweetness. I actually use mixed berries and banana in my oatmeal. And this gives me another meal of sweetness. Okay, again, using nutrient-dense food. Something else that I do, and I'm a huge fan of these, and I've talked about them already, and I know some of you have already tried them, but these are a massive help. I mean, this chocolate version, they're the chocolate-flavored Isobar, is like amazing, super, super amazing. Now, the only downfall with these bars is they're fairly calorie-dense. But a lot of you are having a hard time eating the food that I'm giving you, apparently. But these are great bars, again, made with nutrient-dense food, real whole food ingredients, and this is something that really helps me tremendously, okay? So again, it's about finding those real whole foods that are going to make a big difference in your life. Foods that you enjoy, but are, for lack of better description, approved for the program, okay? I really want you to try to stick to real whole foods. Foods that have not had the nutrients stripped away and then additives added in that are disease causing, or perhaps just really densified with sugar and that type of thing, with added sugars, okay? Added sugars that have no other value to them. They're just refined sugars. There's no other nutrition coming in with them, all right? So these are some of the things I want you to think about when it comes to making a diet for yourself that's going to be more sustainable, or a diet that you enjoy, all right? Savory foods, I'll talk about that maybe in another video. All right, let's get to the message of the day. Oh, actually, no. I promised I would do a question here. So soreness, how can I alleviate soreness? I've talked about this before. I know it's not sexy. I know you want some magic pill. The two things are gonna help you the most: a good, long, quality sleep, or I should say, not just one sleep, obviously, but really a trend of sleep. We want that sleep consistency, so getting good quality sleep through time or over time. Number two, getting enough calories and protein in your diet. So following your numbers and getting in your protein sources, eating real quality foods that are going to help with your recovery. It's all about the full nutrition spectrum, right? So we want to make sure we get enough energy, and with that, vitamins, minerals, etc., and protein. These two things are going to make the biggest difference, all right? A couple supplements that I highly recommend that I do carry: creatine monohydrate, glutamine. These will help with recovery as well. Magnesium can also help you to relax a bit at night if you feel any restlessness. Okay, so getting a high quality magnesium supplement, which I carry as well. All right, okay, message of the day. Progression, not perfection. Progression, not perfection. And this is part of the challenge. It is you progressing, finding those areas where you know that you're maybe not 100% with, and then trying to improve upon those. This is gonna help tremendously. Of course, we can't go from 0 to 100 overnight, but let's look for those things. Let's set some specific minor targets week to week that we can try to improve upon. This is going to enhance your progression much, much more as the weeks go on, all right? Look for the areas where you can improve upon, all right? And don't shoot for perfection. It's not all or nothing. It's about progression, all right? Working on progressing. And find those foods that you enjoy, all right? Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, for the love of God, give some gratitude. And I'll talk to you all tomorrow. See you.